From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast 1 Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders, building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Good evening. Welcome to another week of Patriotic Parenting. This week, we are going to talk about a topic that often gets overlooked, and it is important that we talk about it because it's something that you need to safeguard not only for yourself, but for your kids as well. And more as parents, we find that we are worrying about the big and obvious, but not worrying about the sinister and little. So tonight, we're going to talk about identity theft. We're going to talk about protecting your identity, and we're going to talk about protecting your children's identity, because your child's credit can be ruined before they ever hit the age of 18. They can have tax problems with the IRS before they're even old enough to vote. And so we're going to talk tonight about the different kinds of identity theft, both against adults and against children, and all of the things that you can do to take evasive action so that your children's credit scores and privacy are safeguarded until they're old enough to safeguard them for themselves. We'll be back in just a few.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast 1 Live.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker-owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit! You're our hero!
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast 1 Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders, building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Welcome back. Tonight, we're talking about identity theft. And I'm going to give you a few explanations of the different kinds of identity theft. And some of them are going to be things that have probably not even occurred to you. but it's important that you know about them and that you know about what to do to prevent them. Most of us who think about identity theft think about credit cards. We think about the guy who is stealing our number when we call in to use our credit card over the phone and charging up gas in Canada, or buying videos at Blockbuster in Poughkeepsie. In reality, this is probably the least problematic of all kinds of identity theft. First of all, because most credit card companies have disputes where you can dispute charges. And second of all, because they'll be willing to work with you to take care of the problem, reverse the charges, and get your life back to normal, issue you a new card, and life goes on. There are other kinds of identity theft, however, that can ruin your life for over 10 years. And those are the ones that I want to talk about that are so important. I actually did not know a whole lot about identity theft until this year. And this year, I learned about things that I didn't even think of as identity theft, and now I realize are the very worst kind, and that is the theft of an identity for the purpose of securing a job. And so one of the ways that I found out about this was because of a new policy that was enacted for child care centers. In January of this year, they enacted a regulation that said that we had to fingerprint every employee in our child care and turn those over to the FBI to be checked for a criminal record and a sex abuse history. The intent of the law was to keep pedophiles and child abusers from being able to work in child care. By running the fingerprints, they were making sure that those people were not pretending to be someone else and securing a job around children. The unintended effect was that in Iowa, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of illegal immigrants who are undocumented, who are using the Social Security numbers and information of American citizens to get a job. And although I applaud them for wanting to work, the problem with this is that once they get that job, they create a tax debt for the actual American citizen. And because this person doesn't know that their Social Security number is being used, they file taxes for the job that they worked. The IRS gets reports from multiple jobs, and only one is being claimed on the tax return. What's the first step? Let's have an audit. So the first step is that the IRS sends out a letter saying, you haven't reported all your income. Here's the adjustments we show. You will need to adjust your income, and here's how much you owe us. The person on the other end, that American citizen, says, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never worked for Happy Time Daycare. Here's my W-2s. This is where I've worked. The IRS comes back and says, don't think so. We have records from Happy Time Daycare that say you made an additional $16,000 last year. You are taxed on that $16,000, and because it's added to the $37,000 you made at your other job, you are now in a higher tax bracket. Here is what you owe. Oh, and thank you so much, Mrs. Mulhern. Here's the penalties and interest. Now, the person on the other end who's using those documents to get a job doesn't see what they're doing to the person who actually owns that Social Security number. It messes with your Social Security retirement. It messes with your taxes. It messes with all of the records for you from everywhere. And one of the biggest ways that it messes with you is with your medical information. Because if I'm working under your Social Security number and I get health insurance under your Social Security number, and I get diagnosed with cancer under your Social Security number, guess what I've just done? I've made it impossible for you to get life insurance. I've made it impossible for you to get your own health insurance should you ever leave your current job. And they don't even think about the consequences when it comes to this type of problem. So, it is crucial that you guard your Social Security number and your children's, because children's Social Security numbers are a prime target. They don't have a work history, and so they can be used in the work field without causing any warnings or flags with the exception of the date of birth, which they can put in a different date of birth and nothing flags in the IRS system. And it's unfortunate because it should. All right. So we're going to talk about all the different kinds of identity theft. And I'm going to start with the top of the list. The first is credit card fraud. Credit card fraud is when someone gains your credit card number and uses your card to rack up charges. It also includes individuals who apply for a credit card under your name and under your credit report and get a credit card, charge it up, and then don't pay it off. Or even if they do pay it off, they're still putting credit on your credit report that doesn't belong there, therefore still stealing your identity. It also includes companies that take that credit card information and use it to sign you up for services or products that you did not want. The next is utilities fraud. This is another one of those that most individuals don't think about. But there are a lot of people who can't get utilities in their own name, whether it be a cell phone, internet, water, electric. Some people have such bad credit that they can't get utilities. They will actually use someone else's name and social to get their utilities. And believe it or not, there are actually some parents that are so depraved and have such poor judgment skills that they will actually use their child's name and social security number to get utilities. And even if you're stealing an identity from your own child, it's still identity theft, still a crime, still punishable. And I actually met a young woman who worked for me about 2 years ago whose mother was a drug addict and had used her social to rack up all kinds of bills and then had left them unpaid. And so this young woman at the age of 16 had bill collectors calling her. She had all kinds of nasty grams coming from companies. She had it on her record that she'd been evicted, that she'd had her utilities shut off, and she's 16 years old. She's been living with her stepmom and her dad. It's not possible that any of these things happened to her, but because of what her mother did, anybody who pulls a credit report for this little girl for the next 10 years is going to think that she's a deadbeat. The next on the list after utilities fraud is fake IDs. And this actually, ironically, is children committing identity theft in order to secure an ID to go drinking with or to party with or buy cigarettes with, whatever the case may be. The problem comes in when they pull out the wrong license. So when they get pulled over because they've had a few too many and decided to drive home, and they pull out a driver's license with your name and social and driver's license number on it, guess who gets a DUI? Guess who gets to go to court? And that young person is not going to show up to court and admit it's a fake ID. So guess who's not going to show up to court, and guess who's going to get arrested? That would be you. So, next on the list, bank fraud. This is where an individual who is on check systems or any other type of system that prevents them from getting a bank account will actually go into a bank with your information and an ID in your name and open bank accounts and use these bank accounts for illegal activities, for questionable transactions, whatever the case may be, or even maybe they just can't get a bank account any other way. Problem is, if that bank account goes into overdraft and they walk away, guess who's responsible for all the money? That would be you. Next on the list, government documents fraud. This would be someone applying for an ID card, a passport, a government ID to join the military under someone else's identification, someone else's social and ID. And believe it or not, it does happen. And once again, this can wreak havoc for years because military service is something that once you have it, you can use it for all kinds of things. And so that person can serve under your social security number and then turn around and apply for a VA home loan and apply for VA business benefits and apply for VA disability. All of those things then go on your record. And all of the debts then go on your credit report. Not to mention the fact that military medical records go on forever. Okay, after government documents fraud, is professional fraud. This one is one of the most prevalent types of identity theft. And the funny thing is that they don't necessarily even have to have your social security number in the beginning when they go to do it. Let's say that you are a nurse in Oklahoma, like my stepmom. My stepmom is a nurse. She's been a nurse for over 40 years. About 15 years ago, she got a phone call, and it was from a hospital in another state. And they said to her, "We think we have a problem." And she said, "Well, what's the problem?" And they said, "Well, we're looking online and it's listing an address for this person in Oklahoma, but this person works for our hospital. And we just want to know who lives at this address and what you do." And so she told them her name, and she told them where she lived, and she told them her nursing license number and her social security number. She then had to send them copies of her birth certificate, copies of her driver's license, copies of her social security card to prove to them who she was so that they could stop this other person practicing medicine under her nursing license. And as it turns out, it was a nurse who had had her medical license taken away and desperately wanted to continue working in the nursing field. So she decided to just take the license of someone else online and go in and get ID in that name, went and applied for a job at the hospital, and bam, there she is, working under somebody else's nursing license in somebody else's name. Now, just imagine that nurse killed a patient. Who's going to take the fall? It's not going to be the fake nurse. It's going to be my stepmom, the real nurse. And all from a license that's readily available for viewing online by anybody who wants to see it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a couple, and then we're going to talk about some more different kinds of identity theft. Back in a couple.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
Get away from my Sumito credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast One Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders, building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Welcome back. We are talking tonight about the topic of identity theft. It is a topic that should be crucially important for parents because more and more children are having their identities used by criminals and ending up with poor credit scores, the inability to get a job, the inability to get a bank account, or even a criminal record. there are actually individuals that will go out and use a driver's license with someone else's name and social on it and get a ticket or a DUI, never pay it, never show up to court, and that other person then ends up being arrested trying to prove that they're not the person that got pulled over. And in some instances, they don't win. So it's very, very important that you safeguard all of the information that is confidential for your family. The next kind of identity theft that we're going to talk about is medical identity theft. In today's society, more and more individuals do not have health insurance. And so there are different ways that they get health insurance, and one of them is by using someone else's information. If I am uninsurable because I have AIDS, and I know that I'm not going to be able to afford the treatment I need, I can apply for a job and get group health insurance under your name and social. And when they look at your medical history, it's not going to show HIV and AIDS. And so I'm going to be able to get insurance under your name and social. Then I go and get diagnosed, and guess what? That diagnosis is on your medical records. You then become uninsurable for life insurance, for medical insurance. In addition, I'm getting huge cost prohibitive treatments. And when it's discovered that it's a fraud, then the risk assessment team has to decide where those monies are going to come from. And oftentimes the consumer ends up paying. Medical fraud is also committed when individuals will go in for medical care and they're undocumented. And so they will use the Social Security number and identification of a U.S. citizen to be able to get medical care for themselves or for them children. They will also use that identification to get assistance, child care assistance, food stamps, medical assistance through Title 19. All of those programs require that you have identification identifying you as a U.S. citizen. And there are a larger and larger number of undocumented immigrants who desperately need financial assistance. And so they will use a fake ID and false documentation in order to secure that the care that they need, the money that they need to survive. And although I understand their survival instinct and the need to be able to have a job and the need to be able to have medical care, it can't be at the expense of ruining someone else's life. So, we're going to talk a little bit about how identity theft is committed, because some of the ways that people steal identities, I did not know very much about. I had heard a lot of terms, but I wasn't really sure what they meant. So we're going to talk about the different terms. First of all, there's the obvious, which is dumpster diving. I am betting that most of you throw away stuff every day that has information on it that you do not want anyone else having. For example, bill comes from the doctor's office. You pay it. You throw it in the garbage. Okay? That bill from the doctor's office has your insurance information on it. Now, anybody who has that information, if they can also get a hold of your Social Security number and date of birth, can call the insurance company and get a copy of your insurance card. And guess what? It's all they need to go to the doctor, charge up a big bill, get a bunch of tests that then go on your medical records. So, anything with insurance information on it of any kind, auto insurance, home insurance, utility bills, any type of identifying information should not go into the trash can. It has to be shredded. Shredders are $50. Spend the $50. Put everything into a shred pile in a little box next to your desk or in your kitchen or wherever it is that you store it. And then once a week, show the kids how to take the staples out, unfold the papers, and stick them one at a time through the shredder. Your children will have the best time ever. It's free babysitting, people. You can't get better. And it protects your family from someone stealing your identity. So have a little shred party. Use the paper to make paper mache and artwork, or use it to make wonderful scrapbooking paper by putting it on a screen with a bunch of water, mixing it up in the blender. Make your own homemade paper to make cards or wrapping paper out of, whatever the case may be. Use it for packing material. Use it for the rabbit cage. I don't care. But make sure that all of your identifiable information ends up being reduced, reused, and recycled by way of the shredder. Next, we have skimming. Now, skimming is something that I did not really know what it was. And it is where the thief has a device that they put next to the credit card machine. And it might be a skimmer might work for a company that has a credit card machine. They might take credit card payments over the phone for companies. But they have this machine that when they run your card, it traps the number and the information in this little machine. So then they go home, they plug it into their computer. It pulls up all of the credit card numbers, expiration, people who have the card, whatever. And they then can make cards with those numbers and names on them. So they have an exact copy of your card that they can then take to any store and swipe, and they're actually swiping your card. So it's going to your credit card company, it's going to your credit card balance, but they're walking out of the store with the merchandise. That, to me, extremely frightening, especially considering that some people have an enormous number of credit cards nowadays. So if you're the type of family that carries 12 or 15 cards, and you're a very busy family, you might not notice a charge here or there for a little while. It might not be for a little bit until you realize, I didn't go to the video store. I didn't get pizza. I didn't pick that up at the mini market, whatever. So by the time you realize that they might have bought gas, pay at the pump once a week for 3 months, quite a bit of money has been spent on your card. And the way that they often do it is by charging small amounts at inconspicuous places so that you look at your credit card statement and you don't see anything unusual. So they'll go to fast food. They will pump gas at the pump at a gas station because then nobody even sees them. They run the card into the pump, they pump their gas, they drive away. They don't actually come into contact with a person who could identify them. And it just shows up on your credit card statement as gas. Well, how many Americans buy gas at the pump with their card? So are you really going to think anything of it if you see a $50 charge at Casey's? I know I'm not. I use my card at the pump all the time. So I get really, really busy. I'm going to look at my credit card statement and go, oh yeah, I got gas. Okay. Not even going to occur to me to look at the date and time and make sure. And I definitely don't keep a gas log of when I stop for gas. So even if I looked at the date and time, I probably still wouldn't know. All right. Next on the list is called phishing. Now, phishing is spelled, as soon as I'm done yawning, Phishing. And phishing is where thieves will pretend to be a financial institution or company, and they'll send you spam or pop-up messages to get you to send them your personal information. So you'll get a piece of email that you think is from your bank. And it's telling you to please send back in or text them back or email them back with your login and password. Now, oh my gosh, running out of oxygen. Never, 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 never send anybody your username and password. I don't care who they are. Never. Nobody should have that information. Okay? If you need to show someone something on your account, pop it up, show it to them, shut it down. If somebody needs to have access even for a second, you give them the access and you immediately change everything. But you should never give that info to somebody over the email. And you should never give it to them over the phone. Okay? Next is changing your address. Sometimes thieves will get mail from the previous resident in their house and use that to steal their identity. Let's say, for example, you moved into a house next week and the previous owner has been out of it for quite a while. He had mail forwarding. Now it's ended and you're getting all kinds of mail for him. And some of the mail you're getting is bank statements or utility bills or whatever. Those items can be used to steal his identity. So if you move, first plan of action, change your address with the post office. Second plan of action, change your address in writing with each individual company you do business with. Every credit card, every bank, every retirement fund, everything. The Social Security Administration especially, and the DMV. because the Social Security Administration will be silly enough to send your Social Security statement to your old address. They don't know you've moved. Nobody told them. So make sure you do it in writing, and I do have a list that I can provide for you that tells you everyone you need to notify. When you move, you tell all of them in writing what your new address is and ask that they change that information in their system. Because what a lot of people will do is they just figure that by the time the address forwarding is up, everybody will know where they live. And that's not the case. They don't change your address in their system until you tell them to, because they don't know the mail's being forwarded. So they can mail it to you on South First Street. It can be coming to you at Valley West Drive, and they don't even know that you've moved to Valley West Drive because they don't see the mail being forwarded. Get what I'm saying? So anytime you change your address, you need to make sure that you notify everyone. Now, anytime you call a company and your address is different in their records, and I'm not talking about an old address. Let's say you call your credit card company XY and you tell them my address is 222 Valley West Drive. And the credit card company says, no, we have 624 Woodland Avenue. Immediately, you need to request a complete copy of all charges. You need to have them read to you over the phone when the address was changed and who changed it. And you need to put a fraud alert on that card, because it takes a little bit of effort to change an address in somebody's account. It doesn't happen by accident. It's not a computer glitch. If your account, when you call them, has a totally separate address than the one you're giving them, and it's not the address you just moved from, you have an identity theft problem, and you need to nip it in the bud immediately by getting all of your records, by going online and looking at every charge, by having them shut that card down and open a new one. Do whatever steps you have to take to make sure that it stops right that minute. Okay? Old-fashioned stealing. Next on the list. Wallets, purses, stealing mail out of your mailbox, bank and credit card statements, pre-approved credit offers, new checks or tax information. There are so many examples in the last few years of postal workers stealing checks right out of the mail system. Unfortunately, that's one of the few occasions where really not a whole lot you can do to prevent it, unless you figure out a way to get the checks by osmosis. Now, you can get the checks direct deposit. Problem is, you're still going to get the check stub with all the identifying information. How? By mail. And email's not secure anymore either. So if you're getting your bank statements by email, it's not any more secure than if you're getting them by postal mail. Questionably, it might be less secure, but I don't know. I'm going to have to ask an expert and get back to you. The next one is called pretexting. Pretexting is another one that I really never realized happened. Let's say you get a phone call from a company, and here's a big one, and they tell you that because you've been such an excellent credit card customer that you have been selected to receive a gift in the mail. And all you have to do is confirm your card number and your address. Really? You're really going to do that? $10 says some of you are. You're going to get on the phone and you're going to go, oh, that's so exciting. Yes, my card number, blah, 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 blah. And my current address, blah, 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 blah. And how soon will it be coming? Okay. If the light didn't go on for you, probably you might deserve a little bit of what you're about to get. Probably not all of it, but in the end, you're going to look back and go, that was really dumb. Okay? So, no card numbers over the phone. No social security numbers over the phone. No bank account numbers over the phone. Just don't do it. There's no reason to do it. Okay? All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk some more about the different ways that people steal your money, your name, your honor, and your life. Back in a few.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Well, hi, I'm Rob Spearman. I'm a broker owner of RE/MAX Real Estate Concepts in Des Moines, Iowa. Give us a call if you're looking at buying or selling a home, or if you're having trouble on your mortgage payments or looking to purchase foreclosures. We have the agents to help you, experienced, outstanding agents. Our office number is 515-276-2872. Or if you'd like to look at homes, go to our website, homeconnectusa.com.
Get away from us, you mean old credit card. We don't have any more money. We're in trouble now. Save us! Help! Somebody save us! Somebody help! Help! Save us!
Hi, I'm Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of Des Moines. If your credit card's a little too animated, give us a call.
Hooray! We're saved! Consumer Credit, you're our hero!
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios. Listen, watch, chat. This is Webcast 1 Live. Programs on webcast1live.com are brought to you in part by KDC Builders. Building custom homes for how you live. KDC will take your dreams and turn them into reality. Go to our website, kdcbuilt.com, or call Hannah Inman at 515-975-9990. And Tom Coates and ConsumerCreditOfAmerica.com. Are you overwhelmed with mounted credit card debt and feel there's no way out? Well, there is. Call 1-800-955-5765 for Consumer Credit of America. That's ccofamerica.com.
Welcome back. Tonight, we're talking about identity theft. It is a topic that is crucially important for families, especially families who have children who are in the social system, who go to daycare, who go to public school. We're talking about safeguarding your children's identity and your own. So we were talking about the different ways that people steal identities. And we talked about phishing, we talked about skimming, we talked about, I'm going to get back up here, pretexting. Pretty much those are the most common kinds, okay? Then once they get the information, some examples of what they do with it. Under credit card fraud, they may open new credit card accounts in your name. They may change the billing address on your credit card and then run up charges. Under phone or utilities, they might open a new phone or wireless account or use your name to get electricity or heat. Under bank finance, they might create counterfeit checks using your name or account number. How many of you crazy people out there have thrown away old checkbooks? Yeah, raise your hand. So, your old checkbooks, they're obviously too thick to go through your shredder. You got a couple of choices. You can pull off the carbons and put them through the shredder. You can burn them in the fireplace, which is always my favorite, although it's not very green or good for the environment. Or, best scenario, West Bank, which is on 22nd and Grand, one Saturday a month, has a document shredding truck that will allow you to bring all the paper you can possibly shred to be shredded for free. Can you say yay, West Bank? Anyway, I'm sure several other banks have the same service. Ask your bank. But I know that most banks will take your old checkbooks back and shred them for you if you would like for them to. And so it's a good practice to get into. Don't throw away the old checkbooks. Don't throw away voided checks. Don't throw away bank account statements. Anything with that information, don't do it. They may open a bank account in your name and write bad checks. They may clone your ATM or debit card, or they may take out a loan in your name. Did you know there have actually been instances where identity thieves have bought homes, cars, speedboats in other people's names, and these other individuals didn't even know it until they went to go buy a home of their own, and the bank said, wait a minute, you already have a mortgage. Imagine the shock. You've saved for years. You finally have a down payment. You finally have that great credit score. You go to the bank, and they say, we can't give you a home loan. you're too deep in debt. And you say, how can I be too deep in debt? And they say, well, you already have a mortgage. Then what? By the time you fix the problem, the home you wanted to buy is long gone. Government documents, they may get a driver's license or ID card. They may use your name and social security number to get government benefits, such as that VA loan we talked about or VA disability. Next, they may file a fraudulent tax return using your information. They might send off for your refund. Wow. Other fraud, they might get a job using your social security number. They may rent a house or get medical services using your name. They may give your personal information to police during an arrest. If they don't show up for their court date, a warrant for arrest is issued in your name. I pretty much can't think of a worse one than that. Getting arrested, put into handcuffs, being told that I was being arrested for not showing up for a court date for a DUI, that one would pretty much be right up there at the top of the list for me for things that it might be. I might be tempted to hurt somebody over. Okay, so how can you find out if your identity was stolen? Best way to find out if your identity is stolen is to monitor your accounts and bank statements each month and check your credit report on a regular basis. I hate looking at my credit report. When there's hard times and my score goes down, I get depressed. When there's great times and my score goes up, then I look at the fact that my score went up because I have more debt, because the only way to raise your credit score is to use more debt and pay more bills, and somehow that depresses me too. I also don't like to look at the amount of money I have in student loans. I don't like to look at the amount of money I'm spending on cars and a house, and I really hate to look at the amount of money that I'm spending on taxes. But I also don't want somebody else having that house or those cars in my name. So you have to pull your credit report and you have to look at them. And not just one, you need to look at all three bureaus because they're all very different, and your score at one can be 560 and your score at the other can be 655. So look at all of them and figure out what the heck's going on and pay special attention to anything that you don't recognize. Now, the problem with looking at your credit reports is that you may see a company that you don't even know who they are. They might be a company that uploads medical bills from Mercy Hospital. You might have a medical bill that was unpaid that you didn't even know about. But the company that lists it doesn't have anything about Mercy General in the listing. They just have their name and address. So it's important whenever you see something that you don't recognize to immediately write to that company requesting the information and asking them to give you a detailed description of exactly what the bill is, when it was incurred, who it was for, etc., so that you can dispute it if it's not yours and so that you can pay it if it is and bump your score up. All right. You also want to look at your Social Security report. Social Security reports will come to you as long as you give your address to the Social Security Administration. If you do not give your current address to the Social Security Administration and the IRS, guess what? You're not going to get the report. Somebody else is, and you better hope they're honest. Okay? So make sure that the Social Security Administration knows where to find you to send you your report. If you see a job on your Social Security report that you have never worked at, immediately contact the Social Security office and the employer in question. So if you see a record that you've worked for American Equities in West Des Moines and you've never worked for American Equities in West Des Moines, you don't just need to contact Social Security. You need to drive to American Equities in West Des Moines and ask to see your employment file. Because guess what? It's your employment file. It's your social. It's your date of birth. It's you. Show them your ID, the head of human resources, and tell them, I believe that identity theft may have been committed. I am showing this job, and show them your Social Security report. Say, I am showing this job. I did not work at this job. I would like to see the employment file that was filed under this name and Social Security number. And if that person is still working here, then I would like for the police to be called, and I'd like for that person to be brought into the office so that we can settle this once and for all. That's the fastest way to get it handled. The company is obviously going to want to help you. And if that person is still working there under your nursing license or your EMT license or your teaching endorsement, you obviously want them caught and put in jail. So the key is to go straight to the company. Don't call them or write them a letter, which gives them time to then warn that employee. You go to the Social Security Administration, make sure it's not a typo. You take the Social Security report, you go to the company, and it may be advisable to take a police officer with you to the company, and you go in and you ask to see the employment record. And when they show it to you, if it is indeed your information in somebody else's handwriting and that person is stealing your identity, then you turn the folder straight over to the officer standing next to you and you tell them, I would like this person arrested. I need to contact the credit bureaus. I would like a letter from the police department, a copy of the police report that I can then send to the credit bureaus, and you get it taken care of. Don't delay. Don't think it's a typo. Don't think it must be some kind of mistake, because it's probably not. All right. Then let's see. Also, make sure you review your bank records. Make sure you review your credit card statements. When you get that credit card statement, probably you should take a look at it. A lot of individuals nowadays, because of all the problems with unauthorized charges, have begun keeping a register for their credit card. So they carry a little register in their purse, and actually, I think I may have one of those little bad boys I can show you. My bank, First Federal, whom I love, actually gives out these little bitty registers. Or maybe I don't. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. And this one is from Bankers Trust. It's a little tiny register, and you can use it for your checkbooks. Okay. You can also put your debit card in here, but a great way to use this is to put your credit card in here. So have one of these for each credit card, put the credit card in here, and then put this in your purse. That way you know when you pull out the card, okay, this is my Capital One card. And so you write Capital One card here, okay? And then every single transaction you charge on the Capital One card, you put the day and the time. So then you know how much you've charged. You should know what your available balance is. You should know what your minimum payment due is going to be. Man, this might actually create a balanced budget. Just saying. Just saying. But anyway, then you can take this when your statement comes in. You can turn around and go through each individual charge with your register and make sure that everything matches. If you're seeing Casey's Gas on a day when you don't show you were anywhere near Casey's, then you need to be making inquiries. And this is one of the fastest ways that you'll find out if somebody is scamming with your card just a little at a time. Okay? And those are free from your bank. So go and ask your bank if they have any of the teeny weeny little registers that you can use, and put one with each card and put them in your purse so that everywhere you go with that card, you write down the charges you do so that you can then show the bank and the police, look, I write down every charge. I was at Michael's using my card. 20 minutes later, I'm an hour away getting gas. Can't happen. Somebody's cloned my card. All right. Next on the list for identity theft. It asks on this website, how long can the effects of identity theft last? Well, here's the thing. If you don't get it fixed and you don't know about it, it can actually last for more than 10 years. Because that's how long it takes items to go off of your credit report. So if you ignore your credit and you never look at your credit report and somebody else has gotten a card and run it up, then that is going to be on your record for 10 years. If somebody else has filed bankruptcy under your Social Security number, it's going to last for 10 years. Any type of debt they take on, even if they are paying for it, shows in your debt to income ratio, which can affect your ability to get credit. And anything they do that causes your credit score to go down, even if it's them applying for cards at stores, it still dings your record. Even if they never use those cards, or even if they don't ever even get those cards, just the mere fact they're running your social lowers your credit score. Now, people who are at a particular risk for identity theft are people who have professional licenses, doctors, lawyers, nurses, but the biggest victims of identity theft are, like my husband and I, military. When you are in the military, and they have made some changes which have made this better, but when you are in the military, your Social Security number is on just about everything. As a recruiter and a station commander and an EO advisor for half of the country, my husband's Social Security number was on the paperwork of every single soldier he enlisted. And he spent about 15 years enlisting soldiers, dozens per week. So if you multiply out how many pieces of paper his social is on and his full name, they are in the hundreds of thousands. And those records are public records. They're filed in courthouses all over this country. And even my husband's DD-214 is filed in a courthouse. So his social is more public than the White House address. And there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. And so if you are a military family and you're old school military, not with the new technology and protection in place, you have to be especially concerned, because even though you might safeguard your Social Security number, one of the applicants that you put in 2 years ago might not care where he leaves his enrollment paper laying around. And so your Social Security number can be compromised. We got a letter last week from SAIC, and a company who was transporting military medical records to a secure facility. The records were stolen out of this particular caseworker's car. And so they sent us a letter letting us know that my husband's medical documentation from the military, which has everything, Social Security number, address, all of it, were stolen. They have offered us a year of identity theft protection. We have to call in and give them a little number, and then for the next 12 months, we're protected. But just the thought that somebody deliberately took those records makes me wonder, what are they going to do with them? Nobody would take those records on purpose without having a reason for it. So now we wait to see if they actually get away with whatever it is they're planning on doing. All right. There are some really good websites, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them so that you can see it. There's a Federal Trade Commission website called Fighting Back Against Identity Theft from the Federal Trade Commission. It has a little bit of everything on there, and you can go in and read all about identity theft and read about different ways that you can prevent it. There is also an Identity Theft Resource Center, and you can go online to their website, and it is a toll-free, no-cost victims assistance number. So if you feel that you've been the victim of identity theft, their number is 888-400-5530. And it's a toll-free, no-cost victims assistance. There is a company called Legal Shield that has an excellent identity theft program. If you would like to take a look at what they have to offer, go to legalshield.com/go/Frederick62. That will take you through to a page that we have put in place for you where you can go and look at protection for families. They have legal insurance where if your identity is stolen, you have a free attorney to help you get through the process of recovering. They also have legal insurance for families for doing wills, living wills. They have a service to where if you are ever sued, if you ever need legal coverage because of a dispute, that you have free legal advice provided through their firms. The firm here in Iowa is in Des Moines, and it's McCarty, McEnroe, Godsteiner, There's like 50 of them on the letterhead, and it is a huge firm. They are very reputable. There are some excellent attorneys there. Brett Cleveland is one of my favorites. Hello. He did help me when I had an offer from an agent to represent my book, and he went over the agreement and gave me some free advice. And they have a really great program so that you can get your will done for free every year. You can get your living will and your medical directives done. And the coverage for families, I want to say, is about $17 a month. And the identity theft coverage is about $7 a month. So for $7 a month, they will monitor everything. And if you have any kind of incidents of identity theft, they will immediately take action to help you fix it. So go to the website, legalshield.com/go/Frederick, and Frederick 62. and have a look at their plans for families and see what you think. Anyway, it's been great hanging out with you guys again. I love Tuesday nights. It's my peace and quiet away from the kids. It's my haven and oasis where I get to discuss whatever comes into my pretty little head, and we get to talk about topics that interest parents. If you want to send me a topic you want to talk about, go to www.parentpermit.com, like a driving permit, and send me an email at the comments address. Or you can email me at comments@parentpermit.com, and I will talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. So send me a little email telling me what excites you and what you want to know, and we will talk about it. I also wanted to tell you that I am, in the very near future, going to be hosting an online advice column for families and parenting. And so as soon as I have all of that information to be able to send you to the site, I will get it to you so that you can go in and read. And we're going to write about all these topics. And it's going to be an interactive forum where you can send me questions. Anyway, it's been a great night. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. And until then, keep your permit current. Practice every day. Make sure that when you're driving in the seat of parenthood, that you always keep your eye on the road ahead. Good night.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.